Previously on the diary.
I took blood from the one my dad stored from the good twin, and for the next month I was mellow and passive, but now the effects are wearing off. I'm going back to being my despicable self, which leads me to Jessica. If I give her my blood, I will pass on to her whatever evil blood DNA virus thingy I possess. She could do unspeakable things and ruin her life. I either let Jessica, my best friend, die a hero, or let her live long enough to see her become the villain.
Jessica just told me that the blood clots did affect her to the point where her kidneys started to fail. Jessica, you can have my kidney. Why are you so nice to me? Just because sometimes people do crazy things. Are you trying to tell me that you're truly madly deeply? And then she started laughing. My kidneys are fine. I got you good. She completely ignored my confession. And as I started to melt, cry, and slowly decompose on the inside, I realized that the reign of evil Jessica had just begun.
I was really enjoying our conversation until I linked the imagery of Dorothy on the hospital bed and me sitting by her side with Jessica.
As bitter as I was about how we left things, I still really missed her.
And then I thought of the perfect thing to say to Jessica. So I said goodbye to Dorothy and I took a bus back home. On my way, I kept obsessing over several things my sister said.
What if both Mom and Dad were absolutely guano crazy and none of us is really one kind of twin or the other? What if both of us are just bad people because being bad makes more sense or is more fun?
But being bad is in my blood. I have infected others with my blood. That's just not how biology works.
Maybe there really is nothing wrong with me. What if what I have is just an overwhelming level of empathy? What if I just feel too much the injustice of others that I can't help but try to fix a few things here and there on behalf of those who can't or won't do it themselves?
The following takes place on July 17, 2015.
Dear Diary, I went to visit Jessica. I gently knocked and immediately opened the door to her room just a little to look inside. I want to write down that I did not wish to wake her up, but deep down I know that if I wrote that, I would be lying to myself. The real reason I snuck in is that I'm still hurt and scared that she could do it again. She was alone and completely focused on the TV, so I just awkwardly and cowardly sat on the couch next to her bed in silence and just stared at my diary. She didn't even acknowledge my presence, which both felt like a win and loss at the same time. I couldn't remember what it was I wanted to tell her the day before. What was that perfect response? But I kept rereading what I wrote that day when she broke my heart, as if it would somehow help me scar and build my immune system up against her rejection with tiny little Jessica antibodies. Wasn't that really mean, what she did to me? So, there's still that. I know yesterday I was all against the idea of my blood making people break bad, but the thought of Jessica doing that to me out of her own free will is just too damn harmful. I lifted my head up to try to get Jessica's attention, but a tear was running down her cheek. She was watching the news. There was a special report on some terrible crime. Apparently, in the 4 days I've been gone, there have been 3 attacks that are so similar reporters think a serial killer, for lack of a better term, is on the loose. They've even given this person a nickname already. They're calling him the social media paralyzer. According to them, this person will ride an elevator or stand at a bus stop with nothing but a hammer. He will wait to be alone with someone. Practically blinded by having their nose so deep inside their phones, they didn't even notice him creeping in behind him. And with the way their head is bent forwards, they leave themselves perfectly open for him to just do a quick hammer strike on the back of their neck, damaging the C6 and C7 vertebrae of the cervical spine. They never see it coming, and all 3 victims have ended up quadriplegic. I clicked my tongue and shook my head. This is madness that anyone would think of doing such a thing. How can someone be so detached from reality? How can they have no compassion? How is it possible for them to ruin someone else's life like that so instantaneously and so totally shattered, demolished beyond repair, and just go on about their lives like they just went to the supermarket and bought some grapes? And then just find someone else and do it all over again? And once more, those harsh feelings of empathy came rushing back in, making me wish I knew who that entitled, snotty brat was, filling me up with dangerous thoughts of revenge. But this has nothing to do with me, so I am not even going to fantasize about the remote possibility of maybe touching that with a 10-foot pole. And then I remembered Jessica's tear and wondered if this is what was making Jessica silently cry. I mean, it is immensely devastating and awful, but that wouldn't fit evil Jessica's personality. Wouldn't evil Jessica be thrilled? Or at least intrigued in a good way? Well, I don't know. I don't know how this works, or if it's even real. I'm not sure of anything anymore. And as terrible as this whole news story is, I was ghastly taken aback by Jessica's next words. She looked at me with a twinkle in her eye and said, "That's me. I am the social media paralyzer."